The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Warlord Kanat of the Zytherian Empire entered through the obsidian doors. His scales gleamed like polished armor under the neutral lighting, each one a testament to battles won and enemies crushed. Behind him, coiled and hissing, came his pride. A Kresh battle serpent, 15 feet of bioengineered death with venom that could melt through starship hulls. The assembled delegates shifted nervously in their seats. This was meant to be a negotiation, but Kanat had made his intentions clear. He would accept Earth's surrender, or he would demonstrate why the Zytherians had conquered 47 star systems in as many cycles. "Where's the human representative?" Kanat's voice rumbled through the chamber, his translator rendering it in perfect standard. "Have they sent no one to grovel for their pitiful planet?" The doors on the opposite side opened. Bella Martinez walked in wearing jeans, a leather jacket, and a supremely unconcerned expression. Under her left arm, held with the casual confidence of someone carrying a football, was something that made every xenobiologist in the room lean forward in confusion. It was small, barely 2 feet long, with gray and white fur, a flat head, and the dead-eyed stare of a creature that had never known fear because it had never needed to. "Sorry I'm late," Bella said, setting the animal down on the polished floor. Traffic was murder. The honey badger immediately began sniffing around, completely ignoring the battle serpent that had begun to coil defensively. Kanat's eyes narrowed. "You mock this council? You bring a pet to these proceedings?" "Oh, this isn't a pet," Bella replied, pulling a protein bar from her pocket and unwrapping it. "This is Sergeant Reckless." "Well, that's what we call him. He doesn't really answer to anything." The Kresh battle serpent hissed, its hood flaring to display the bioluminescent threat patterns that had caused entire armies to flee. Sergeant Reckless looked up from investigating a particularly interesting corner, noticed the serpent for the first time, and returned to sniffing the floor. "Your creature does not cower before mine," Kanat observed, curiosity mixing with irritation. "It must be simple-minded." "Actually," Bella said, taking a bite of her protein bar, "honey badgers have pretty good problem-solving skills. They can use tools, open locks, and they never forget where they've found food. They're also—" The battle serpent struck. It was a blur of motion, engineered for speed that exceeded most beings' ability to track. Its fangs, each as long as a human finger, dripped with neurotoxin capable of dropping a Thorian battle ox in seconds. Sergeant Reckless ducked under the strike, twisted and bit down on the serpent's throat with jaws that could crack turtle shells. The chamber erupted in chaos. The battle serpent thrashed, coiling around the much smaller mammal, constricting with force that could crush durasteel. Sergeant Reckless simply dug his claws in and held on, his thick, loose skin and subcutaneous armor making him nearly impossible to pierce or strangle effectively. Bella continued eating her protein bar. "As I was saying," she spoke over the sounds of the struggle, "they're also nearly immune to venom. Cobra venom, in fact. They eat cobras for breakfast. Sometimes literally." She glanced at the thrashing serpent. "Your boy there is putting up a good fight, though." Kanat stared in disbelief as his prized battle serpent, the creature that had killed 17 champion gladiators, was being systematically dismantled by something that looked like it should be someone's house pet. What is that thing?" whispered the Altarian ambassador. "Melivora capensis," Bella replied. "Honey badger. Native to Earth. They've got a reputation back home." She crumpled up her wrapper. "See, about 3 million years ago, they evolved in an environment where everything wanted to kill them. Lions, leopards, hyenas, venomous snakes, you name it. So they evolved 2 strategies. 1, be tough enough that nothing can really hurt you. 2, be mean enough that nothing wants to try twice." The battle serpent's movements were growing weaker. Sergeant Reckless had worked his way up to the serpent's skull and was now systematically ensuring his opponent wouldn't be getting up. "They're also stubborn," Bella continued conversationally. "There's documented cases of them being impaled by porcupine quills, taking a nap, then getting up and finishing their meal. They've been recorded digging through concrete, breaking into scientific research stations, and once one climbed into an escaped convict's cell and spent 3 nights in there with him. The convict was found crying in the corner." Kanat found his voice. This is not possible. The Kresh are bioengineered perfection." "Sure," Bella nodded. "But here's the thing about engineering something. You design it for specific scenarios. You make it fast, deadly, intimidating. Real smart, really. She pointed at Sergeant Reckless, who had now finished his work and was sniffing around for more interesting things. But that little guy? He was designed by billions of years of trial and error in an environment where the password to survival was maximum aggression meets absolute stubbornness. The Warlord's scales had lost their luster.
What do you want, human?
Bella smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I want you to understand something about humanity, Warlord Kanat. We come from the same planet as that. She gestured to Sergeant Reckless, who was now attempting to open a delegate's briefcase. Earth didn't make us apex predators by being the biggest or the strongest. It made us creative, persistent, and just crazy enough to try things that by all rights shouldn't work. She walked closer to Kanat, and despite being half his size, he took a step back. You've conquered 47 star systems, congratulations. But every single one of those systems bent their knee because they were smart enough to know when they were outmatched. Her smile widened. We're not that smart. We're the species that saw something trying to kill us and thought, I wonder if we can domesticate that. We're the species that looked at the food chain and said, what if we just stepped off it entirely and made our own? She picked up Sergeant Reckless, who squirmed indignantly. You brought your best warrior. I brought something from my planet's wildlife. Now imagine what happens when 4 billion humans, with all our weapons, our creativity, and our complete inability to understand when we should quit. She paused. Imagine what happens when we all channel our inner honey badger. The silence in the chamber was absolute. Finally, Kanat spoke, his voice hollow. What are your terms? Oh, we don't have terms, Bella said cheerfully, heading toward the door with Sergeant Reckless under her arm. We're not interested in your empire. We just wanted to make sure you weren't interested in us. She stopped at the threshold. But if you do decide to test us, remember this day. Remember what happened when you brought death incarnate to intimidate us. She grinned. We brought a honey badger to a snake fight. And we'd do it again. The doors closed behind her, leaving Warlord Kanat staring at the remains of his battle serpent, finally understanding why the galaxy whispered about Earth with equal parts fascination and fear. Humanity didn't just survive in the cosmic food chain. They thrived because they simply didn't care that they weren't supposed to. End.